Hey guys, in order to kind of try and come up with some new ideas for the channel, I wanted to do something a little different today, and that is to make a video about 5 folding knives that I regret buying and why. So we can go down the list here and spend a little time with each. First on the list is this Kershaw Whirlwind. Seems like a great knife, USA made Kershaw, but I just can't get over how flexible that handle is. It just drives me bonkers. I don't feel safe using it. You know, it's a good USA made knife. It's all that, just, man, they could have just put liners in there. So I never felt safe using it for anything more than cutting paper or recyclables, because I just don't trust it. I mean, I can literally, you know, I feel like if I were really bearing down on this, it would just give out. But yeah, I regret it. It was kind of an expensive knife too, and really only seen pocket carry for a couple of days because I just don't trust it. So that's the first one. Not that it's a bad knife, guys. It's just I regret buying it. I just don't like that. I think I use knives too hard to be able to ever trust it. So, you know, it's that good 14C 28N steel, and it's USA made Kershaw, but just, you know, I just can't get over it. Next, this Camillus. This is one of the Walmart specials you can find in VG10. It's like the, I forgot what they call these, like the Carbonitride or whatever they were. You know, they didn't seem bad. It had nice flat scales, and I think they're aluminum actually, with a nice texture to them. You know, VG10, and this thing was like $30. How can you go wrong? Well, it's not bad. You know, I got it. It seemed pretty good. I was pretty excited about it. You know, it holds well. It carries well. It's nice flat. Fits in the pocket nice. Decent pocket clip. Nice deep carry on that too. But I ended up regretting it. The VG10 is very soft. It's actually quite softer than my 8CR13 MOV steel knives. It just does not hold an edge worth a damn, and it's actually pretty difficult to sharpen. Now I attribute that just to geometry, that it's actually a pretty thick knife, and the edge, you know, is fairly steep on it. So you can see this has got quite a bit of use. I use this as a camp knife a lot, a beater, because I'm not afraid to break it or lose it. And yeah, the pocket clip is a little loose too, but that can be tightened up. But yeah, after using this a bunch and sharpening it, you know, a good bunch of times, just the steel's soft. It's nowhere near, you know, I have a VG10 Spyderco Endura, and that holds its edge 3 times as long as this. So is it a bad knife? No, but in the end, I think I paid too much. You know, it just wasn't, you know, I was expecting VG10, and it's really like what you would expect out of like a Gerber knife as far as how the retention went, but that's kind of expected, you know, when you take a company and ship it overseas and then start selling mass market to Walmart. You know, very common to end up with really cheap garbage steel. Next, Spyderco Native. Now, I know what you're going to say. How do you regret a Spyderco? And that's a tough question, but I do regret it. And it's not a judgment on the quality of this knife at all. It's just that in the end, I ended up paying $85 for it. And then, literally like 2 weeks later, the Manix 2 in the Carpenter XHP steel came out, and I ended up buying that as well. And they were both like around $85, $90, and the Manix 2 is such a better knife. That Carpenter XHP is has really it is marginally better edge retention, but it's just such a better deployment. It has that nice ball bearing lock. This, you know, it's not the smoothest on earth. It's actually quite a bit of resistance, and if you loosen up the pivot, you'll get some blade play in there. So, you know, it's a really good lightweight knife. You know, Spyderco always makes great stuff. But I think when you look at the price versus the Manix 2, it just made me regret it. You know, I bought it, I got it, literally had it home like a couple of days, and that knife center came out, and I was like, oh man. So I ended up buying both of them. But now this kind of sits around, because in the end, when I want a very lightweight, small Spyderco, I always end up going for the Manix 2 because it has that better deployment. So this one tends to just kind of gather dust because, you know, it is. It's just the deployment's not as good, and that's fine. You know, nothing wrong with it. But, you know, if I were Spyderco, I would price this differently than that Manix 2, you know, that Knife Center edition. That's a price, and, you know, the problem is the, just not as nice as that, Manix, so there's that guy. I regret it, but nothing to do with quality, just my own bad timing, I guess. Next, an actually unsafe knife, Gerber Icon. I picked this up, and you can actually see how the edge of that blade is sticking out just from talking, hanging around, walking. The edge of that knife hangs out. I have cut myself on this numerous times because it doesn't take much. You can see it. I can actually just from... So, very dangerous knife. It opens up in my pocket all the time. It, I tightened and tightened the pivot pin. It's as tight as it can get, and it's still very, you know, wobbly and loose. Very dangerous because this happens in my pocket a lot. And being it is a tip-up carry, you're reaching your hand into your pocket with a little edge out. I've cut myself quite a few times on this knife. So once again, this is a beater. This is more of a pry bar than a knife, which is fine because it uses that really just terrible Gerber steel that you can never really get sharp and you can never really get dull. It just stays like butter knife forever. So it's pretty much been a pry bar because that steel has enough flex to it where I've never had any issue with it breaking or whatever. So I kind of use it in those situations when I really need something to pry with, to be honest. So it's seen a lot of use for that stuff. But yeah, I would never use it for daily carry. It's just too unsafe of a knife. And yeah, I mean, I liked it. I like the idea of a really big Tanto. I always say it, and people are like, hey, you said it wrong. Yeah, I just thought at the time it would be a great idea. You know, it wasn't expensive, but, you know, this isn't about price, it's about regretting. And this is when I got home, and literally within like 2 minutes I regretted it, because, you know, I should have sent it back to Gerber, but, you know, I've read so many other reports of people having issues with the knife. Why send it back to get another one? I should have got my money back, but I don't know. I think I just wanted to make a video and trash it, so in the end it didn't end up going back. Last, another Gerber, big surprise, Gerber EVO Jr. And you're going to say, wait a minute, Bushcraft, you gave this knife a good review back in the day. Alright, you got me there. I did give this knife a good review back in the day. And the reason why is because I was in the infancy of this channel, which was now 5 years ago. And this was pretty much the best folding knife I owned. Everything I owned was pretty much flea market junk. I was not a knife guy. I really owned only a handful of folding knives. I think it was this, my old Imperial that you've seen in a couple of videos. I used to carry a lot. It was an old like 1980s Imperial. Carried that forever. Super, super sharp. You know, just one of those old school, probably 440C Imperial, but just took a really super fine edge very easily. So I only had a couple of knives. So at the time when I bought this, I thought it was great. You know, you're talking, maybe like 2003, 2004 when I bought this. So it's about 12 years old now. But the steel is just so soft. You can't get this to a razor edge. Now, when I bought this, I thought it was sharp. If you asked me if this was sharp, I'd say, hell yeah, it's sharp. But by nowadays standard, this goes into butter knife category. I recently pulled this out to see if over time maybe I just gotten better at sharpening and I could now bring it to an edge. You can see it's got a very bright shiny edge there. And I took the diamond stones to it and I was not able to get this thing even to be able to slice paper. The steel is just too soft. You know, which is very common with a lot of these Gerbers, is that super, super soft steel. And I hate it too, because you always see people like, oh man, it's great because it gets wicked sharp. You know, that's the thing about cheap knives, is they're so easy to sharpen. And I know I've said that myself 5 years ago, but in reality, once you end up buying better knives, you realize that is completely and totally false. Once you buy better knives, your idea of sharp is completely different. And yeah, so things have changed a lot over time. So I do regret that EVO Jr. Not so much because I bought it, but I think I regret it more because of my attitude towards it. That at one point I did think that was a good knife. At one point that was cool to me. And it really is kind of a stark reminder as to how much I didn't know even just 5 years ago and how much I've learned. You know, because I really wasn't into the folding knives, guys. I really, you know, I had a couple Moras. I think I had a couple Moras, couple fixed blade knives, and that was fine with me. I didn't need a ton. I felt like I was fine with what I had, and you know, so yeah, I think this EVO Jr. is just, it's just a bad reminder that I really didn't know what I was doing when I started this channel out. I really kind of learned as I went along, and you know, I leave that video up too as a reminder to myself, because occasionally it pops up in my suggested videos, and just a reminder that we do learn over time, and that what we once thought was great can really become garbage in no time, and to always be aware of that. So yeah, so once again, you know, those Gerbers, that super, super soft steel, oh, I don't know what they were thinking, you know, but it works, because there's, you know, a large portion of America who will pick them up and think because it can cut a piece of rope that it's sharp, and that's well, just not the case once you learn a little more. So those are it, guys. The 5 knives I regret. There's more I regret, but these are the ones that stand out. The ones that I sit back and just say, oh, you know, I really wish I hadn't bought that knife. At the same time, like, I can't in good conscience sell these two. I don't want to sell the Spyderco, because even though I regret it, I want to keep it. Same thing for this. I would sell it, but I just feel like, you know, whoever I'm selling it to, I'd be ripping off, you know, because it's just such soft steel. And the Whirlwind, yeah, that may get sold eventually. I might just get rid of that, because I'm really never going to use it. So, but yeah, regret. It's a terrible thing.